Hello everyone, thank you for joining and welcome to another SysKit webinar. Today's webinar topic is automated server documentation with SysKit. We're going to learn how to audit IT assets, generate detailed server documentation, and track system inventory changes. But first of all, let's do a short introduction. Now, my name is Silvio. I'm a product marketing manager at Acceleratio, and here with me we have Frane, the SysKit product owner, who will be answering your questions at the end of this webinar. You can say hello to our guest, Frane.
Hello guys, how are you?
Okay, so Acceleratio is a software development company based in Croatia. We specialize in creating enterprise solutions for various platforms like SQL, SharePoint, Windows Server, Citrix, and all other platforms alike. Now, we currently have over 2,500 clients from more than 70 countries across the globe. Many of these clients are big companies such as Intel, Coca-Cola, Rolex. You can probably recognize many logos from this slide, and those are just some of our customers. Now, we currently have 4 products, and let me show them to you. You can see them all on this slide. We have SysKit, the server monitoring and administration tool, SP Docket used for SharePoint documentation and management, CloudKit 365, the reporting tool for Office 365, and SQL Docket, the auto-discover and documentation tool for SQL servers. If you'd like to know more about any of these products, just check our company webpage, or even better, contact our sales team and they will provide you with all the information you require. Now let's go through the webinar's agenda. First of all, I will explain a few housekeeping rules and I will explain how you can ask your questions using the GoToWebinar application. After that, we'll do a short SysKit overview followed by the short intro to today's topic. After that, we'll have a demo where I will present all the possibilities SysKit offers when it comes to IT asset management and documentation. Of course, not to forget, at the end we have the Q&A session where our Frane here will be answering all your questions. So to start with the housekeeping rules, you can ask your questions during the entire webinar, no problem, you don't have to wait for the end, and the most interesting questions will be answered publicly. A recording of this webinar will be available tomorrow, and in about a week you can expect the webinar summary to be published, and it will contain all webinar questions answered. Now, speaking of questions, if you want to ask a question using the GoToWebinar application, all you need to do is open the questions chat box and simply type them in there. As already said, all questions will be answered by our product team, and you can find them in our webinar summary that will be published on our blog. So let me explain what SysKit is for those who are, well, new to these webinars. SysKit is a server monitoring and administration tool designed to help system admins and consultants in their daily tasks. Using SysKit, you can monitor user activity, application usage, server performance. You can track your entire server inventory and documentation, of which we'll talk about today. But you can basically audit everything on your servers. What SysKit also enables you is to simplify remote server management, and it does that with the help of PowerShell. It is also good to mention that SysKit is an agentless tool, and it means that you can monitor all your servers from one central console. And we have also a SysKit web application available, and it enables you to reach your monitoring data from absolutely anywhere. All you need to have is a browser and some, well, internet connection. On this slide, we have some more details about SysKit. All reports can be exported to PDF or Excel. You can easily set up intelligent alerts, and they will notify you whenever something unusual happens on your server. Just to mention the performance monitoring feature, which is a big feature, and it enables you to track all performance counters you can imagine, and you can track them in real time and historically. We also have the server inventory feature, which is our today's topic, and it will enable you to generate server documentation and track all system inventory changes. And now we get to today's topic, the server inventory documentation, and how can SysKit help you with it. Just a second. So let's talk about server inventory. Like crucial hardware components, installed programs, patches, and so on. Kind of like the basics. So continuous inventory control is an essential part of any well-organized company. And managing that company's vast hardware and software resources is important, but often very, very time-consuming. And even worse, with each new addition to the inventory, it is harder to keep track of your actual assets. And that is where SysKit steps up and helps you. It crawls through a system and reports back with the inventory data. To put it simple, SysKit uses only one console to track all most important inventory components of your system, such as CPU, RAM, the disks, installed programs, system updates, and so on. I would also like to mention that you can take inventory snapshots of your entire system infrastructure, and you can use them later for baselines or configuration deployment. Perhaps I should explain it. The inventory snapshot is a status of your inventory at a specific point in time, but we'll talk more about it later and its uses. So on the last slide, we were talking about the basic data you can collect about your system infrastructure. It is important, but it's still just basic. SysKit allows you to go way deeper by combining SysKit and PowerShell, the Windows scripting language. You can gather all data you can imagine about your server environment, and you can consolidate like really complete server documentation. That means you can fetch data about, I don't know, Citrix configurations, published apps, group policy changes, SQL jobs. Actually, you can retrieve data about any component that has PowerShell exposure. The PowerShell scripts we use to generate documentation, they can be written by you, or they can be imported from our PowerShell repository, which now has about 50 scripts for documenting components like Active Directory, IIS, group policies. I will show you that repository in our demo. Now, all of that scripts can be applied to multiple servers or multiple groups to simply automate repetitive tasks, so you don't have to do it for each service separately, and it saves you hours of work. Now you might be asking, why would you document your entire system? Well, to go over the BS, actually producing this type of documentation is crucial for support and maintenance jobs, but it's kind of crucial for entire resource management in general. And with SysKit, you can also have another perk, and that is having all different server technologies, such as VMware, Hyper-V, Citrix, SharePoint. You can have them all documented in one place. And now let's talk for the last slide about the real difference maker. Now, many tools out there are developed to emulate server documentation. However, SysKit can also spot changes and compare different server settings over time and over servers. Now, just picture this. Let's say you have a PowerShell script, or I don't know, something that documents the configuration of 500 servers you have. And so it's great, you did it, you got the documentation. But what you need to do now is track all changes happening on the 500 servers that you set up that have to have the default configuration. And wow, that's seriously gonna take some time. What SysKit enables you is to detect differences in server documentation over time. It will automatically record any changes in your environment, and notify you if a difference was spotted between two inventory snapshots. That's a great way to, I don't know, audit harmful or undocumented changes. For example, let's say someone in your company made a change to the group policy, or someone disabled the Office 365 sync service. Those are all real world problems. You can also compare any server you have within your monitoring environment and perform patch management in just a few minutes. And we all know that patch management is very important. A good system admin always makes sure that all security and software updates are up to date. So if you look at it from all angles, the possibilities of this feature are kind of limitless. You can track the number of successfully performed SQL jobs and learn which service needs improvement. You can determine the availability of applications on your servers for better resource management. You can compare and test entire production and test environments and compare their configurations. Okay, I believe that's enough use cases for now. I've bothered you enough, so we should head on to the demo. Let me just switch to my demo environment and we can get started. Okay, so there it is. This is our demo environment, and now I'm going to guide you through the reports that will provide you with documentation of various system aspects. So as already mentioned, our problem is following. With each new addition to the system inventory, keeping track of IT assets and auditing their changes becomes harder and more time consuming. And well, luckily, we have SysKit to help you with that and SysKit's reports. Now, first we have the group of hardware reports, and they contain your everyday crucial hardware components that you should probably keep in an eye on. Now, we have the hard drives report that shows you all disks or partitions installed on every server, their size, and their free space. And just for the record, you can find additional disk information if you go to the performance report. I don't even need to say that tracking disk is important unless, well, you're a big fan of server outages and problems. For each report, of course, you can filter specific computers to see them and specific snapshots. Now, next one is the network adapters report. And it is important in, let's say, for example, you just added a new domain controller and you need to list all DNS addresses you need to add it to. And that is the great use for this report. Now, this report also provides with data such as transfer speed of the adapter, interface type, and so on. There are also, well, processors and printers reports. And they will, well, obviously, they list the processors and printers installed on your system. The next group are software reports, and they document all software IT assets that you have on your system. First, we have the programs report, and it lists all installed applications on every server, their version, publisher, install date, install location, and other useful data. We have the installed and available updates reports, and they list all the Windows updates that are installed or available for installation on your servers. Now, these two reports are important because they can make patch management easy and not the time-consuming pain that it usually is. How, you ask me? Well, I'm going to get to that later and show you, but now let's go on our reports. We have the services report that shows you all services on your server, whether they're stopped or running, and all other needed details like startup type, logon type, service description, and so on. The certificates report provides you with the list of certificates for different users. Now, for example, certificates, here we have the certificates that are used as server and authentication for remote desktop gateway. And as you can see, this one is pretty much expired. But the certificates can be used as a client authentication, as a SharePoint server authentication, and so on. Now, the last report here, the one separated from all, is the local admins report. And he lists all the users that have local admin rights for each computer here. And this is not a simple matter, because you shouldn't be giving local admin rights to anyone but actual system administrators. I mean, you should know that many harm can come from mispracticing this deal. Okay, and now we're getting from inventory basics to the real specifics. Under the PowerShell reports, we have a repository of PowerShell scripts that generate documentation for specific aspects of the system. As you can see, there's like many specific reports here, and for example, well, this one shows us all the disabled users in our Active Directory, while this one lists all users registered in Active Directory in general. There is more interesting reports, let's say, okay, this one, and this one discovers all sites and application pools on your server, and you can see that the number of reports here is very great, and those are only the ones that we have in our repository. Now, by writing your own PowerShell scripts or editing ours, the possibilities are kind of endless. So now we're going to add. Just a second. So now we're going to add a simple script just to show you how it works. And we click on PowerShell tab, select Create. We give this report a name, something like this. We select the report category or subcategory, but just to find it easier, we're going to put it inside PowerShell reports global category. Okay, now we write the script. Okay, select the server or computer we want to test the script on. Try to validate the script. And it is said that script is validated successfully, meaning we can set it up for our documentation. When we click Next, we get kind of a preview for the results or documentation that this script will return. We can configure the identity to later easier compare our inventory snapshots for this script. We're going to select name, and we can select where we want our script to be run. We can select all computers, specific computers, or even specific computer groups. I'm just going to put run on all computers now. Okay, we click finish, and we can see that our script is now here, and it will run and report on the inventory that script requested when the inventory job is scheduled to do. Now, there is even simpler way to add script. We go to import definition, import, and we find our script. Well, this one is actually downloaded from our web repository. We select the script, open it, and then we can again select the category we want to put our script in. We can select the servers we want our script to be ran on, and we just click import. And we can see again the script is here, everything is here. We could have set it somewhere else, and it will be probably in our next inventory snapshot job. So you can find lots of useful scripts, and I will show you there where I promised you that I will show you our web inventory. So you just, okay. So here on the SysKit page, under resources and then PowerShell scripts, you can find lots of useful scripts. Actually, these are script groups. Each of these contains multiple scripts, and they're easily importable through SysKit, as I've just shown you with the last script. But if in some case you want the PS1 format of the script, you can go to our GitHub repository, where we have all of our scripts in PS1 format, and you can edit them and you can use them for, well, however you like and however they can actually help you. What I forgot to tell you is that you can simply run inventory job for any script by simply opening Snapshots and clicking Take Snapshot. You can also manage all current inventory snapshot by clicking on Manage Snapshots, and here we can delete if we have some, I don't know, extra snapshots we don't need. We can compare them. We'll come to the compare part. I'm just mentioning it now. And we can mark any script as good, so we can use it later as a baseline if the configuration in that particular inventory snapshot was like ideal for you. You can also, under configure snapshots, you can configure the inventory snapshot runtime occurrence. That's the inventory job I was talking. So you can set how often will it run, how often will you take the inventory snapshot, and what documentation will be included in that inventory snapshot job. You can also go to alerts, and you can set up SysKit to send you alert if any change in inventory snapshot has been detected. And then you can tend to it immediately. And that is pretty much great. That is the thing I was talking about during the presentation, that SysKit finds the changes in inventory and tells you about it using email. Okay, I think that covers the system documentation part. But now I should tell you something more about auditing changes and inventory snapshots. Now, if we go to Snapshots and compare wizard, it starts the dialog offering you to compare two inventory snapshots or different computers. Now, you're gonna want to compare two inventory snapshots if you are interested in changes that might have occurred in your system over the time. So let's do that first. Okay, I'm just gonna select sorry. I'm gonna select one, and one about 3 months ago. I'm sorry. Okay. And now we have the two different inventory snapshots, one from today and one from more than 3 months ago, and we can see the difference that happened. I mean, it's a big period to be checking, but we just use it to show you. So we can see that there is difference in hard drives. 3 additional disks have been added, and one of the disks has changed its size. Apparently, it's we're talking about the virtual disk, so its size is, well, easily changeable. Then another important stuff could be the disabled users. As you can see, some users from the, well, let's call it blacklist are added, and some are removed. Now we can see plenty of differences. In services, you can see something interesting. Now we currently have lots of data here, so we can simply remove the equal entries. That is useful when we have this much data. And now if we take a closer look, we can see that Windows Update service on different servers was all running 3 months ago, and now it is stopped for all servers. Now that is something that was probably done by system administrator, but it wasn't done by you. You should probably go and check out, since Windows Update is pretty important service. The same thing goes for local admins that I mentioned before. As you can see, some admins have been removed and some have been added, and if you haven't added those admins personally, you should pretty much check out who is added and who is currently on the local admin list. So that's it for the comparing two inventory snapshots for different time, but we can also compare different servers. So we go to compare wizard, select two computers, and we're gonna select this latest snapshot. Now this option enables you to track whether different computers have the same configuration or not, because often you have the servers or computers that are supposed to have almost identical configuration and are definitely should have the identical patch level. So we're gonna choose SP1 and SP2, and as we can see, there are differences in processors and printers, but those are not that important differences. But if we go down, we can see that they have different installed updates, and we can see here that SP2 is missing well more than a couple of security updates, so that would definitely be something you should look into. Now, this is the way, by comparing any two servers in your environment, this is the way SysKit can make patch management and configuration deployment quick and easy by detecting any changes, especially when we're talking about installed updates. So that would be all for today's demo. Give me just a second. Oh, sorry. Okay, and we're at the Q&A time. So just to mention, if you would like to arrange one-on-one demo, perhaps like this, but when you can ask questions directly, feel free to contact our sales team at sales@acceleratio.net. Now, just to remind you, all the questions not answered now will be answered in our webinar summary, and now we're gonna, well, answer some, all of them. Can we start with the questions, Frane?
Yes, sure. Give me just a moment, Silvio.
Okay, no problem.
Silvio, can you see my screen with the application?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, so guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to write the question down in the Q&A part of the webinar, so I will try to address all of your questions, or maybe most of the questions. Okay, so what are the requirements for the PowerShell to work? So Silvio mentioned that we have this part of the application where basically you can enter whatever so PowerShell script to work. Basically, requirement for that is to have PowerShell remoting enabled, and basically you can check that on the administration tab. When you add your server in the SysKit, then SysKit will check if the PowerShell remoting is enabled. To enable remoting is really easy. I believe you need to enter enable dash PS remoting or remoting, and then to force that command, and then basically that will enable the remoting on the remote server. When you enabled remoting on the remote server, then basically you can control that server from the SysKit, because everything that we do here is basically we just call the PowerShell remoting, and whatever script is written in the SysKit, then we just execute that script through the remote PowerShell. Okay, let's move on. From where do you get the predefined reports? So let me go to the inventory. So a list of predefined reports that we have in the application that Silvio mentioned is basically gathered from different sources. So you have, for example, hard drives, adapters, processors, or maybe printers. This is the data that we get through the WMI. Weighable updates is, I believe, WMI as well. Some of the data is gathered from the event viewer, and some of the data is gathered from the registry. So basically there are multiple sources that you can use in the SysKit to gather this kind of data. Okay, let's move on to other question. So what is the impact on the remote servers? So like Silvia mentioned, we do not have any agent that needs to be installed on the remote server. So basically when we designed the application, we wanted to have agentless app. So basically when you install the application somewhere in your environment, let's say on the dedicated server, you can control the remote servers but without any agents installed. So everything that Silvio displayed here is basically gathered through the WMI from registry through the PowerShell, but no remote agents are installed on your mission critical servers. We know, for example, we have a lot of customers that have Citrix servers or SharePoint servers, and some of the business policies is that nothing can be installed on the production servers. So that was really challenging, and basically that was one of the reasons why we wanted to have application that is able basically to work and to gather data without installing anything on the remote servers. Okay, let me move on. Can I have alerts if script is executed successfully? So Silvio mentioned all these scripts. So there are predefined scripts that are in the software, and there are scripts that are available on our website. Basically, when you download the script from the website, then you can just import the script in the application. What we are building, and this will be available in next 2 to 3 weeks or something like that, is a repository of the scripts, but basically you will be able to download the scripts directly from the application. So it will connect to our repository, and then you will be able to download the script. So why is this important? Because basically that release will have alerts as well. So basically you will be able to create alert if script returns a particular event from the remote server. So there was a requirement from the client that we have at the moment, for example, to monitor the availability of the SharePoint sites, and then basically if SharePoint sites are loading, let's say, more than 15 seconds, then send me an alert. So PowerShell is really powerful language, and basically you can create a script that will call IE, so Internet Explorer, as a COM application, and then basically it will load the remote SharePoint site, and then if the whole load with the rendering and network traffic and all that different stuff takes more than, let's say, 15 seconds, then you can use the SysKit to send you an alert. So you can use it for SharePoint, for different websites, you can use it to create different scripts For example, we had a requirement to create, also for SharePoint, to create a script that is monitoring the search service on the SharePoint farm, and basically if crawl takes more than 15 minutes, then send an alert that something that search, for example, the crawling of the search farm is taking too long. So these are just few examples on what you are able to do with PowerShell scripts. So this is something that is really powerful, and in next version of the application you will have a repository of the available scripts that will be inside the application as well. What would be cool is if you guys have some kind of requirements of your own, so you can contact us, and then we can help you with creating the script, and then basically you can use this PowerShell framework in your company, and then you can give us an idea of why you would like to use the SysKit in your environment. Okay, Silvio, let me check if there is something else. Okay, I believe that the most different questions are answered. And if there is something specific, we will get in touch with you guys directly, so no worries. If you have any questions about this PowerShell and the inventory and all this stuff, you can get in touch with our sales team, and then basically we can set up one-to-one demo. Okay, Silvio.
Okay, just changing presenter. Okay. Are you seeing my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So these questions brings us to the end of this webinar. I would like to thank you all for joining us today, and if you have any questions, please contact us at support@accelratio.net or sales@accelratio.net. Have a good day. Hopefully I'll see you soon in another one of our webinars. The next one will be a bit more focused on new features from our upcoming release of SysKit, which Frane just mentioned. Well, thank you again. Take care. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.